Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 2. Just moved me ironing wire away from Millie in case she traps herself. That wouldn't be good, would it? Pull the iron on her. It's only a little iron, but it's off, but gotta make sure. Anyway, welcome to day 2 of 12 Days of Christmas. Lovely that you could join me for another evening of fun-packed fun. That's not right either, is it? I could start all this again, but it wouldn't be worth it. Thank you for joining me. We've got star number 2 to do today. So according to my website, we've had a lot of visitors today on the website. Hello, Kath. Hello, hello. A lot of visitors on the website today getting their download for star number 2. And it's caused me a little bit of amusement because I know they're going to get a little bit harder. The first 2 are a nice gentle introduction to patchwork if you've never done it before, and there's a few that have never done it before and never made a little quilt before. So the first 2 stars are quite a gentle introduction to it, which is lovely. And then we get just a little bit trickier, but nothing that you can't cope with, I can assure you. If I can do it, you can do it. So let's have a look. We've got some people joining us already. How lovely. I hope you've had a good day. It's kind of like that in-between time, isn't it, that everybody talks about. But I'm okay with it. I'm relaxed. I don't really need to know what day it is. Unless there's something specific on TV that I need to watch, you know, on a particular day, but it's all muddled up anyway. And I was saying to John earlier, if you're like my dad, who just has his free view and he doesn't have many channels, although he has learnt to look through the menu, which is brilliant at 95.5. That is excellent. But really it's not very inspiring, unless you've got Netflix, you've got Prime, you've got iPlayer and all those other places, and then possibly you can find a film to watch. And the other night, I think it might have even been Christmas night, I forget, but I think it was, we watched the 6888. I don't know if it's Squadron or just 6888, and that was awesome. So that I highly recommend 6888 if you can find it. Anyway, enough of that. So let's have a few hellos, not too many. We've said hello to Kath, to Mandy, Judith, Judy, Nicola, Jackie. Oh, hi Jackie. Anne, Rosemary, Lorraine, Patricia, Elaine, Daphne. Apologies to those of you that watch this on YouTube and I'm not acknowledging you. That's something that I could address. If you put your name in the comments, I will say hello, even if it's just a few hours later than this live. I did have the technology to easily go live on YouTube as well, but that facility has been taken away. So I could find other software, and you know what? This works okay, so we'll stick with this. Hello to Anna and to Shirley as well. I've got to miss a few out here, so apologies for that. So hello to Karen, Pauline and Dawn. I've come down to the end of my list, but there's a whole load in between. Let's just see what the numbers are at the moment. Oh, very respectable 40. Very nice indeed. Thank you very much. So we're on star 2, so hopefully you've been to the website today and downloaded. It's just one page. As I said to you yesterday, it's really cutting instructions and a basic guide on how to put them together. We all rely on the video to really show us what to do and how to go about all of these different blocks. To write instructions of all the different varieties of techniques would be very labour intensive. And although on our foundation paper piece blocks there are quite a few pages, because I put in just a bit of extra help for you, because I know sometimes FPP is not everybody's cup of tea, as they say. Right, I'm going to crack on because there's nothing worse than me gabbling away and you're waiting for a demonstration. First thing I want to do though is I'm just going to get my phone up here. and I'm just going to put you on the overhead because we've already had some fabulous pictures posted in the Making It Special group. And the first one posted was Julie Merritt, and she says, playing catch up today as we had 2 days of family Christmas at mine, 9 on Christmas Day and 10 on Boxing Day. Star 1 done and Star 2 printed for this evening. So that's Julie Merritt's. Okay, so now I'll just swipe that across. So the next one we see is Jeanette, and that is Star 1 completed, Star 2 printed. So that's Jeanette's. I thought it was very delicate colours, very delicate. I'm sorry for the lights flashing on it, I'll try not to. Then we move along to Nora. Now, Nora's colours are pretty awesome, aren't they? We've got some really gorgeous orangey tones in there. Gorgeous. So that's from our lovely Nora, and she says Star 1 complete. Then we've got one from Anne, and again, Star 1 completed. And we've got some really interesting fabrics there because we've got the blue tone, and that'll always stand out against the red. So that's quite a nice difference of colourways there, really nice. Then we've got Jane. Now Jane has used a black background, which is going to really make the whole thing pop, which is wonderful, isn't it? Really wonderful. I love the yellow tones, and again she's used blue in there. It's like almost like a shadow, isn't it? It really sort of stands out. I love it. Then we've got Karen. And Karen has used the deep red tones, and you can just see, I mean, it's probably my picture more than anything, is that she has got a lighter tone in there. You can just make out the square. But I think when you put them all together, they're absolutely going to pop. I really believe that. So that's a wonderful effort there. Diana, we knew was going to use this fabric, and it looks amazing. It's worked out really well. So we've got that really gorgeous blue tones, and then we've got the sort of caramel tones in there as well, that gorgeous fabric. So that looks incredible. I love to see other people's work because it's colours that I perhaps would never choose, which is always a good thing. So always look in the file, and that was the last one I think that was posted today, or there might be the other way round, but so I just thought I'd show you those. And I meant to say yesterday and I didn't say, and I do apologise for that. Post your pictures in the Making It Special group. Anybody can join it, as long as you're not like a business or that sort of thing. But anybody can join it. So just request to join Making It Special. And in there you can post all your pictures of what you've done and your progress and your oops moments. Alison did an oops moment. Well, we do, don't we? We do. It's just normal stuff. It's just normal stuff. And yeah, so we can always put it right. I mean, last night I didn't cut one square correctly. That's fine, we can just correct it, it's no bother. So I'll thank you, Nicola, for putting the group in there. That's fantastic, thank you very much. So also thank you to everybody that bought me a coffee today. You've really kept me going. I'm now caffeine high. Actually, I have decaf, but you know what I'm saying. All is good in the world. So today we are on star number 2, which is this one. And what I'll do is I'll show you again on the overhead the actual block, because it looks better perhaps with the actual, well, my fabric. So there we are. So depending, again, it's going to depend on what colours you use on how this is going to pop. Because obviously you can see my dark star there. And then you've got the triangles, obviously it's half square triangles, but you see the other triangles here, and just kind of cozying it up, and you do look like you've got a square, like a cross rather. But I like that effect. You could change the middle one for this one here, so you have a light tone in the centre. You might want to cut a square out of light tone and see if that works for you, because maybe that's too much. I don't know. I like it. I like what I've done. Good job, really. So that's what we're aiming for today. Again, a nice, easy star. So a lovely one to actually sit and do. And then tomorrow, you know, I've got this fabric rather than a plain. Do you see? I've got that fabric instead of a plain, and I still forget. Cardinal. It's a cardinal bird. I nearly forgot what it was. And this is tomorrow's, and this isn't too bad either, actually. So, so we'll get that done in the morning. I'm going to have to give this an iron in the morning, aren't I? It's a bit screwed up now. Keep getting it up and moving it down. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is look at the pattern. I'll bring my ironing board up ready. Switch my iron on. Don't forget to use your best press, your sew flat, your flatter spray, whatever it is that you have to hand. Please get that out and make sure that you give your fabric some spray. We'll do that in just a second. So this is the pattern that we're going to do today. Okay, star 2. And yes, thank you, Diana. Yes, I didn't want it so plain. That's why I decided a sort of just a little bit of a pattern, more of a ditzy pattern. Anyway, how to make star 2. So you're going to cut 4.5 by 4.5 from the lighter colour. So there's your 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut 1 4.5 by 4.5 from the dark colour, which is that centre one, but you could always substitute it for a light colour instead. Okay, that really might make a difference for you. I quite like that I've got that what would you call it, fully filled in star. So I don't know, you decide. Somebody said today that they were going to make theirs from lots and lots of random fat quarters. I think that's a brilliant idea. Imagine how that would look. All the different colours, all the different tones, all the different shades. I think it would look amazing. So go random, go random. And then you're going to cut 2 5 by 5 inches from the medium colour. So these are your half square triangle bits. And then you've got cut 2 5 times 5 from the dark colour C, which is these bits here. Now, don't worry about copying this, you know what I mean? You don't take a screenshot. Well, take a screenshot if you like, but you'd be far better off going to the website, go to the menu and click on 12 Days of Christmas. Okay, if you're doing it with your phone, you have the bars that come up and you just click on the bars. That's your menu. If you're looking at it on a bigger device, then you'll possibly have the full menu going across as a banner, and just look for the 12 Days of Christmas. Click on that. And they're all in there. They're all in there. It's all free. Okay, so then it tells you how you're going to put all these together. Okay, so we'll just follow that. Nice and easy. A lovely, lovely, lovely make for this evening. Looking forward to it. And as you know, I've already made one complete. It's 60 by 36. But I'm going to do a second half, so that would be 60 by 72. You don't have to do it as big as that. You don't have to do what I've done. You could cut it down to just 4 blocks, 6 blocks. You know, this is all about us getting together for 12 nights for an hour, just doing a bit of stitching. So you can decide yourself what you want to do. Okay, Jeanette says, I'm thinking after this one, as the centres are 4.5 inches, I think they would be really nice with embroidery square. You're absolutely right. And if you've got any of Adrienne's squares, her fabric squares that she does, Zippy Doodle Design, you might want to put one of those in there. So use what you got in your stash, really. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's just put that to one side and get our fabrics. And we will do this every evening, because I've cut mine already just to save a bit of time. And all we're going to do is give them a little spray. I'll do these as well. And ideally, you're going to let the best press or the sew flat, whatever you're going to use, sink into the fabrics, okay? And it kind of spreads it out. I mean, ideally, you're going to do it about 1.5 foot away from your table, and then you get a finer spray, okay? But the idea is that you put the starch onto your fabrics. It's absolutely gorgeous. It makes a huge difference with your stitching, your pressing, and it stops everything from fraying, keeps everything nice and neat. So later, if I remember, because I meant to tell you yesterday, I'll tell you about my sorry tale of my light fabric, okay? Yep, there is a story. So if I remember a little bit later, I'll tell you that story. So let's get the other pieces in. So that's my centre, my dark centre. And as I said yesterday, I'm using batik, and if you're new to patchwork, well, actually new to sewing, batik is really your friend. It really is your friend because it's double-sided, look, double-sided. You possibly, if you studied it, you might find a better side, but nothing that I'm going to worry about or lose any sleep on. So tell me, what have you done today on this Twixmas Day? Twixmas Friday. What have you done? Have you been out for a walk? We've been for a really long walk today. We did yesterday. Still only got 8,500 steps. So I could do better. But they reckon about 8,000 steps is okay now, don't they? So I can tick my box. Okay, so there's my fabric. So yes, so tell me what you've been doing, because I like to know. Let me get my pieces together. Okay, so we don't need the 4.5 pieces at the moment. We just need our 2 lots of 5.5 inches. Okay, let me put my mat down. And what we're going to do is we're going to split these up. We're going to put right sides together. You'll have seen this a gazillion times, but we'll go through it again. It's fine. Just pop a pin in, keep it away from where your ruler is going to go, so it makes it tricky to draw and cut with the pins in the way. Right sides together, don't forget. I don't need to worry, you see. With batik, I can just do it. Let's keep it so it's like that, and then that won't confuse you. It doesn't matter which way you've got them up. So again, I'll just put my pins in here. Try and keep your points together. And there's our first 2 pieces. Let's get them so they make sense. There we go. Our first 2 pieces put together. So we've got the medium and the dark together, right sides together, and the medium and dark together, right sides together. And they feel gorgeous. They feel gorgeous because of the best press. But whatever your poison, as they say. Oh, Caroline says it's her eldest granddaughter's 4th birthday today, so we've been celebrating. Oh, do you know what, Caroline? It's so wonderful to have a little one in the family, because walking around the village today, every time I've seen a little one with their new skates or their new scooters or their new bikes, I'm just drawing from point to point. We've had two young girls with skates with flashing lights. Oh, and a little scooter with flashing lights. Oh, that was just delightful. And so I've had to stop them because I don't have a little one like that anymore. So I've had to stop them and have a conversation. Their mums seem to be okay about it. Oh dear me. So look, if I bring it up, can you see? I've drawn a line right through the centre of that. Just about see, I think. And then you know the drill, because you've done this a gazillion times. You've seen it demonstrated, I'm sure, a gazillion times. We're just going to sew either side of that line 1/4 inch, and then we'll use that line to cut our fabrics. Okay, so we'll do that now. I'll get my sewing machine in shot. Yes, how lovely having a little 4-year-old around. And I expect she had lots of new presents and lovely things. Oh, what else have we got? Some more stories here. Let me just move my mousey. Carol says, been foggy all day here in the Midlands, so not ventured far. Cut out day 1 and 2 blocks and we'll sew tomorrow. Sorry you got much of a view here. Christine says, my brother and sister came. It was very nice. I think that's the end of visitors now. Marilyn went out to breakfast with my children and theirs, and we all went ice skating. Oh wow, How fabulous. How fabulous is that? And, oh, Alison says she's been unpicking. She's been doing reverse stitching. Oh, Alison, you're so lovely. And then Sarah says, I'm just chilling today after the last 2 very busy days. Rosemary says, spent a lovely hour in my sewing house choosing my fabrics. I don't know how I've got such a big stash. Oh, and Shirley says she drove down to Lymington to have another Christmas dinner with her son and family, daughter and 2 granddaughters, then drove home in the fog. Oh dear, oh dear. That's, that fog has been awful today, hasn't it? Yeah. We haven't had it much here, I don't think. It was kind of misty, if anything. What am I doing? I'm not concentrating. I just put my, just going to sew right down the middle of that line. So let's concentrate on what we're doing. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Let's just do that. So, what else? We've got another story. Marilyn says she went out for breakfast with her children. Oh, I think I've said that already. And Caroline said, yes, the little one got lots of gifts. How lovely. How absolutely lovely. So I'm just going to, I could chain piece this, but I'm just going to whip it around, pull my stitches, my threads just a little bit to loosen them up because my foot is up, which allows me to do that. And then I'm just going to come down the other side. So what else? What else have we got? Yeah, lots of gifts. Oh, lovely. You can't beat it. And I said to John, I miss the little ones. I mean, they're not little for very long, are they? And yeah. So there, I'm just going to chain piece that. If you're not confident with chain piecing, don't do it. It's as easy as that. No need to do it. And then just lifting my needle up again, lifting my foot up, just loosen my threads a bit and go down the other side just a little bit more. That's it. And we can trim all those threads off. Now I've got my stitch length on 2.6 just because it makes it a little bit faster stitching. I never go super fast when I'm demonstrating because I want you to be able to keep up. Rather than me being flashy and zooming, it's better for me to take my time. And did you notice I use my thread cutter, which is something I do not want to do. But there we are. So let's go on the overhead again. Okay, so I'll get my scissors, trim the threads. Yeah, so I hope you're all well. Hope you've had a good couple of days. We've had people poorly in the family. William fell onto a table, well, on I think at like a corner of the table, just about bashed his head. Poor little sausage. Abigail's been laid up in bed for 2 days. She gets a lot of colds, does my Abigail. Obviously, it's something wrong when I brought her up. Oh dear me. Now you can see I'm using, it's like a cream coloured thread. You might want to use thread that matches your work, but I sew everything with cream or light grey. Very rarely light grey, but cream mainly. Okay, so let's get the ironing board. Now if you want to, you could get your rotary cutter and ruler and cut down that centre line there, but it's just as quick to get your big scissors out and just trim it right down the centre. Doesn't need to be accurate, it just needs to be cut. And as long as you don't go too near your stitches, then you're fine. So this is how we make half square triangle squares. I always think it's a funny thing to say, a half square, I can't get it say it right now, half square triangle. I mean, what's all that about? Half square triangle. Well, yeah, I suppose it is. Doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, right, so now we can set those seams. Because you've already best pressed, they press beautifully, even without any heat. They press beautifully. And again, this is the moment in time when you can decide, Are you going to press your seams open, or are you going to just put them to the side? And you can put these to the side. Just be careful you don't get any pleats, creases here. Just try and get that beautiful. It's not a bad result, not a bad result. So we'll do the same again. So if you want to push the seams over to the dark side, you want the lighter one underneath. Okay. And you might find just at the points you might get a bit of a pleat, so just watch that. There we go. Just push that back. Just be careful of these ends here. Just as I say, always be careful and always press. Abby needs to boost the immunity, Lizzie. Too many she's had this. I know, but she's always had it. When she was younger, she had ME for about, well, probably, maybe, might have been a couple of years, but a long time, probably a couple of years actually. And so she has got that weakened system. I hope she doesn't mind me saying that to you guys. I'm sure she won't. But she wasn't very well for a long time. Yeah, anyway, enough of that. We don't want to talk about illnesses. Right, so now we need to trim. So in your instructions, it says trim your half square triangles to measure 4.5 by 4.5. You will have 4. Well, hopefully. Now I happen to have a 4.5 by 4.5 ruler. If you haven't, use whatever you have to hand. So you can see you have a nice little bit of trimmage going on. But what you need to do is to put your diagonal 45-degree line, and what I always like to have it like that, I don't know why, and follow that line against that seam. I'm sure you know that, but it's not a bad thing to sometimes be reminded. So just get that lined up. So don't forget to put a nice new blade in your rotary cutter. Treat yourself. And this, although this is a rotating mat, you can just rotate it as it is. So if you haven't got a rotating mat, you know what to do. Okay, so you know we're keeping these bits. I've got a little special project for you at the end. So, oh, in fact, I'll keep those bits as well. It's nothing to do with free motion or anything like that. It's just a nice little thing that you can do for next Christmas. Right, so let's trim this one. So I always go back then forward, back then forward. And just trim these to size. And don't they look absolutely gorgeous when they're trimmed? Especially if they've been best pressed, especially. And if you haven't tried best press or anything like that, do try. Do treat yourself to some. And I know it can be another expense, but sometimes spending a little bit out on something like best press is really worth it. Okay, so all the way round. And I've deliberately allowed a little bit extra for all of this, so in case your seam allowances are a little bit hit and miss, then you've got a little bit of opportunity to cut down nicely. So let's put that down again. So I'll have a look at the comments when I sit down. Okay. Oh, that's a bit near to the edge, wasn't it? I wasn't looking at that. Crikey. Still got a slither though. Let's just cut that away. That's it. Lock your rotary cutter. And there we have our bits, which you know we're keeping. Just find a little jar. I meant to bring one up. I forgot. Oh, Diana says, I did put a new blade in and it's wonderful. No, I know, what a difference it makes, Diana. You forget, don't you, how super smooth it is. It's really super smooth. Okay, so we've got our 4 half square triangles. Square? Doesn't work for me, this half square triangle business. Right, so now we can lay these out. This is as easy as that, and I think you'll enjoy this because it's just that little bit easier. When you look at your pattern, follow the pattern. So if I bring it in, let me pop it there so you can see it. I'll move these across a little bit just so you can just see them. And we're following, that's the top line. So if you think that the medium shade goes on the outside, that maybe will help. So that's on the outside there. Now we want the dark one to go in the middle. Again, you could put a light one in there. In fact, if I put a light one in, let's see what that looks like. That goes like that. And this one goes like that. No, I like it with the dark middle. There we go. But it's good to try. It's good to try these things out and see how you feel about it. So that's our star. So just check it. Dark, 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 and dark. Look for this 90-degree angle here. There, 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 and there. Whew. So that bit's done correctly. Hurrah! And what we need to do is put it on my mat. As you know, the best thing you can do for yourself is to lay these out on a mat. Doesn't matter what sort of mat. An ironing mat like this, wool mat, kind of grips it, so it's it makes it easier. And then it's just a case of sewing the rows together, sewing the squares together to make a row, another row, another row, and then we just join them all together. So we'll do that now. We'll be done before 8 o'clock, won't we? Let's go on the side camera. Bring my machine in. Let's have a look. Get you in the picture there. Good. Yeah, Kath says she prefers the dark centre. Yes, I do. I think it was a little bit stark with that cream, Kath. Yep. So what we're going to do, if we look at my ironing mat, we'll just look at the top row. I'll try and get it so it's level for you. I'll try my best. So we're just going to work our way along here and sew those 3 together. And if you're at all worried about what you're stitching, don't forget it's right sides together, nice and neatly. That isn't, but you'll make it neat. Pop a pin in where you're going to stitch. So I'll do it, but I know it's not quite straight. Just so you know, pop a pin in. By the time you take it to the machine, that pin's still there. You'll know exactly that you're going to stitch that seam. And the other thing, of course, you can do is to just move that pin now, is to just wriggle them around, get them to fit. And you could, of course, pin the blocks together anyway, the two little blocks. Okay, so you can just take a minute and stitch them together, pin those together. So 1/4 inch seam allowance again. Just be aware of your seam allowances. Try to get them correct if you can. But if you're consistent throughout the whole quilt, you'll be fine. And if your blocks don't measure 12.5, that's fine as well. Okay. Another top tip, when you pull your fabric away from your machine to cut your threads, especially on your thread cutter, which I know you can't see, but it's just up here, hold on to your threads, because you could pull them by not holding on to them. Okay, it does make a difference. And then just open up. Now we'll talk about pressing when we come to it, but because there's seams, I should just show you, because there's seams on the back here, although sometimes we say press to the dark side, it would be silly to do that, because you're going to then add all that bulk onto your your quilt, your top, and that's where you're going to be quilting perhaps. We don't want any bulk, we don't want any problems with needles. Okay, so pop it down on your work surface, which is at the moment my machine, and make sure you've stitched it correctly. Check your pattern. Let's have a look. There's the pattern. We've done those two there. Now we're going to put that one on. We need to make sure that that triangle is where it's supposed to be. I know it's a bit of a pain and a bit of a bore, but do it. Just check, 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 check. So 1/4 inch again, all the way down. Keep an eye on that. When you get to the end, I'm just going to lift my needle out, lift my presser foot. I'm going to grab hold of my fabric here to support my fabric and threads. Look, I've got it all in my hands here, and then I'm just going to cut it. You won't cut your fingers on the thread cutter, and that way everything stays nice and neat. And we can trim all these threads away. I use my little diddly scissors for that, look. There, I knew they'd come in handy. So there's our first row done. So let's do our second row. So our second row is a little bit more complicated because you've got that centre square there, and your two half square triangles, squares, go on the outside. Yes. Still doesn't make any sense in my head. Perhaps to you it does. To me it doesn't. It's one of those things. I've got a funny old brain. When I do any of you play the 1% Club when they do it? And I get them nearly all right because I've got a funny brain. I just see what it is. I don't try to analyse it, rightly or wrongly. Hi Jane, thank you for joining us. So I'm pinching the end of my fabric there. I'm pinching that and the thread to support it, taking it up and cutting the threads. And then I can use my little scissors to snip the threads. So don't forget that dark square is the centre. And again, with this one, the seams are going to go inwards. We'll have a look at that when we're ironing. You can't see much there because it's dark. And then let's get the, oh, now I've done that. I haven't done it wrong, but I picked up the wrong row. So let's just sort that out on my mat. That's it. And then this is the last one. So the triangle goes up along. So let's have a look at the diagram. So we've got that 90-degree angle there. And that's my 90-degree angle just here, look, with this triangle. We've got the dark square just here, and then our 90-degree angle is there, and that's where it is on there. Oh, thank you, Pat. That's very kind of you to say that. Sometimes I think, oh gosh, you know, teaching grandma how to suck eggs and all of that, but sometimes people don't, not everybody knows. And I cater for those that don't know. Because that's how we all started, didn't we? We started thinking, how on earth do we do that? What the heck? So you can see there's my pieces. So I'm just going to grab the end of that fabric there with the threads, supporting it all and cutting it. Oh, sometimes. And although it leaves me a little tail, oops, I can cut those off, no bother. Thank you. Anyway, Karen, might have missed it, but why do you not use automatic cutter? Because, Karen, my machine, and I know several other machines, makes a terrific bird's nest on the back of my work, and it gets very messy. If I have a moment, I will show you the back of the quilt that I made to start the workshop with, because that one is covered in bird's nest because I use my thread cutter at all times, so it doesn't pay. But it doesn't, this is patchwork, so there's lots of little seams, and if you were dressmaking, if you were making a bag, if you were making a bigger piece of work, your thread cutter is your friend. But with patchwork, because there's lots of little seams, you end up with these huge bird nests, at least on my machine. The other thing is you could get to the bottom here, and if you want to, just do a couple of back stitches just to secure your ends, because I've noticed, and I'll show you, I've noticed on the seam that I stitched just before, can you see it's pulling away? So you've got to be very, very careful. Very careful. So back stitch to secure the ends of your rows if you want to. Okay, so there's our bottom row. So there's our two pieces like this. Let's have a look at the pattern or the picture. So there's your plain. Let's put it down here so you can see. There's your plain, which is this. And your right angle, which is quite a good thing to look out for, is here, look. And you see. And there's the right angle there for the dark triangle. So I know that I'm okay. So just place your squares together, and I would just make sure that when you place them together, this top edge, can you see it's just slightly out? Just move it so the two edges are absolutely perfect. Don't worry about what you can see here, that's just the camera angle. But that has got to be perfect. So the two pieces are lying directly on top of each other. And then just straighten up, make sure it's straight. If there are any bits that are not quite meeting that, for instance, this is a little bit out, can you see? First of all, that possibly could be trimmed away. Or it's such a small amount, I would say less than an 16th of an inch, won't make a jot of difference in your seam allowance, okay? So I wouldn't worry about that at all. Oh, really, Karen? Karen thought it was only her that got bird's nest. No, 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 no. I mean, it's a great feature, and don't get me wrong, I will use it, but on patchwork, maybe I won't that often, okay? Right, so let's just have a little look on the overhead with what we've done. Let's just move that out of the way. And I'll just take off thread as I see it. So there we are, there's our piece done. And again, you can go to your pattern and just check and make sure that it's all correct. Looks okay to me. And then what we can do, let's just move these out of the way, is have a look at the back side, because you can see that that seam naturally wants to go that way out, okay? And there's a little bit of a bird's nest there, but I'll just ignore that. Just if you have got bird's nests, do trim them, be careful, do trim, and just be careful with your stitching. If you use a really small stitch like number 2, size 2 stitch, you won't have too much bother with that unravelling, okay? So now what you're going to do is just press these 2 rows, sorry, 3 rows. Oh, thank you, Daphne, it's very kind of you to say that. I do appreciate it, because even though I've been doing this for a very long time, you still like people to say, acknowledge, I suppose. Now that's upside down, but just so you're not confused, let's do it the right way round. Okay, and look how beautiful it looks, and it looks as beautiful as you can see it. It's absolutely pristine, because I've best pressed it and I've ironed at every stage. And if you want to, you can trim all these little threads away, take some time over it, be proud of what you've done. I've just got to watch that seam, because look, it's come undone a little bit. Now when we come to this one, you can see naturally again, because of these seams here, these just want to go that way, and why not? And it actually fits with what we've already done in this, because that will nest, but it just so happens, and if you want to again do set your seam, all that means is that you're pushing the stitches into your fabric, and then you get a better press. I don't always do it because I don't always remember, and then just push those seams into the centre, and you'll get a lovely piece of work if you take your time. No point rushing. Nothing to rush for, is there? And then just flip it over and that will go on that one. Again, you can trim those threads. So this is our last one that we just did. So again, let's flip it over. We can let's be good and just set those seams. Nothing complicated about that. All that means is that you're pushing the threads into your fabric so it presses better. You get a nice smooth seam. Right, that looks gorgeous. Okay, so then it's just a case of putting these 3 rows together. There we are. So far so good. So now what you want to try and do is to nest these seams. Well, because we've pressed it the way we've pressed it, it should be child's play. I'm still not liking what I'm seeing there. I'm just going to trim it. I think it's got a bit of thread caught up in it. Let's try and get it out. It's not desperately important, it's just irritating me. I'm going to leave that because it doesn't want to come out. Don't know why. Who knows? Anyway, so these will nest absolutely beautifully, but do remember that these seams are vulnerable. If you pull them, they'll come undone. Like I say, a small stitch really helps. So maybe you're thinking, oh no, I'll stick it on 3. No, do not stick it on 3. So all I'm doing is nesting those seams up. So I'm butting the one top seam to the bottom seam so they nest together. And if you look at it, you'll see that they are nicely pushed together. It's a wonderful, wonderful way of making a lovely seam. Nice and neat. Okay, so let's just get you on here again. Good. Right, and of course you can put more pins in. Don't use clips, they're too heavy. Use clips on things like bags where the layers are, there's a lot of layers. I'm just going to put a pin in there because that's wriggling. And once I put it down, I can take the pin out. And also, if you wanted to, you could do a back stitch. Oh, zigzag. How did I get a zigzag? I must have pushed something on my machine. How funny. It's like, what? Let's just undo that. There we go. Could only happen to me. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying now. Something really important. There we go. Let's put it down. That was a surprise. Yes, you could do a back stitch on here just so your seams are nice and strong, but you might be trimming this a little bit, so your back stitch might be in vain. But whatever makes it comfortable for you, whatever makes it easy for you, do it. So don't forget, tomorrow morning around about 10ish, depends on what time I get out of bed, you'll get instructions for day 3. So just pop along there. I'll put a little note on my page here to say that it's available. And you can go along and download it. So even on this long seam, I'm just going to hold my stitches and my fabric, pinching it all together using my thread cutter. As I say, you won't cut your fingers by doing that. So a lovely, lovely 1/4 inch seam, and just push that back. Okay, and then we're going to do right sides together. So we're just going to put that one on there, flip it over. You're going to match your seams up again, so you're going to nest those seams. Trim your threads, please. I'm not at the moment, but I'll show you my other sample that I made, which is very bird nesty. I've got a little bit of bird's nest on here, even though I've cut my threads. I think it is my machine. I was going to get my other dookie out. I do love my dookies. My mum would I'd always have a Benina. She swore by the Benina. And that's good. It's good that she loved it so much. But it's a funny thing. If I'd have said to her, "Oh, I'm going to get a Juki, Mum," she'd have, "Ooh," because she was so hooked on her Benina. That's fair enough, isn't it? That's fair enough. Excuse me. So just take your time. Oh, the stitch length is defaulted to 2. I normally, I wonder why it's sewing so slowly. I normally whack it up to 2.6 when I'm demonstrating. But I've got nice little row stitches now. So again, pull it out, trim it off. Look at the tiny, tiny stitches. Oops, sorry. Let's try that one. Tiny, tiny stitches. And that's 2, and that's how it should be, really. Right. So let's get this in shot for you. So is anybody stitching along tonight? Is anybody, you know, keeping up with me? Or are you going to do it tomorrow? Or maybe there's something great on the TV and we're not watching, nobody's watching at all. I haven't checked to see if anybody's watching. Probably talking to myself. Right, so when we look at the back of this, as yesterday, we've got this kind of doubleness going on, but we've only got one single seam here, and we've got one single seam here. We've got a double seams here, double seams here. So if we go over to that side, push it over to there, we're pushing over to all of that seam, all those seams there, and all that fabric there. It would be fine here. So because of the way it's constructed, so like last night, I'm going to open my seams up. Again, I'm just going to set my seam, and when we've made all the blocks, I shall then look at trimming them up and making sure they are 12.5 as best I can. If they come out at 12 3/8 or something, I shall live with that. I'm not going to lose any sleep over something like that. So again, what we're going to do is that what we did last night, just open those seams up. Just follow all the way along. Oh, who said that? I hope to start again tomorrow morning. Fabulous. Nora says, I'm finished, love it. I'm very proud as I'm new to quilting. I've been looking forward to this all day. Oh, thank you, Lizzie. Oh, thank you, Nora. You are my star pupil. You're lovely. Sewing along, oh my gosh. Do you know, it's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to just escape from Homes Under the Hammer or something, I don't know. There's so much rubbish TV on at the moment. Sorry, I'm faffing around. Did anybody watch Gavin and Stacey? We've got it on record. I haven't watched it, so we'll perhaps watch it at some point. But were you one of the 12 point whatever million people watching it on Christmas night? I think it's supposed to be quite good. Don't tell it. Don't say anything because you'll spoil it. I get a bit despairing of TV. Jane says, yes, I've just given my block a final press. Was great sewing along, great demo, and you always explain each process so clearly. Thank you. Diana says, yes, sewing along, and it's smelling beautiful with the best press. Oh yes, it comes out, doesn't it, when you're pressing? Oh yes, definitely. Right, so there is our finished star. Phew, looks okay to me. Look at the pattern. Kind of looks the same. I'd be fed up if I had to unpick any of that. Alison, do it right this time. Oh, Julie says she's been playing cards with the family, new marketing kings. Love cards at Christmas. Oh yeah. Nicola said I must be the only one who has never watched it. Oh, Gavin. Well, I've never watched it, Nicola, but you know, they say you've got to watch it. Never watched Gavin and Stacey. That's Christine. Jane, I watched it yesterday whilst walking on the treadmill. Phew, that's good, Jane. Caroline said, yes, saw most of it, fell asleep. Watched the rest yesterday. Oh dear. Alison says, I promise, bless your heart. Nora says, best press, definitely a game changer. Smell is very nice too. Thanks for the tip. You are very welcome. Yeah. There we go. Shirley says, yes, I'm assuming she's either watched Gavin and Tracy or she's been sewing along. One of the two. Anyway, there we are. That's that done. So let me just quickly show you, because we've got a couple of minutes. I'll see if I can show you my horrible... Well, actually, there's an awful lot of threads on here. That's the last block. That's hard. Actually, I've made it easy for you. I've made it easy for you. So look, I've got lots of threads because I ended up doing the not using the thread cutter, but I'm not going to be able to. Oh, here's a good one. So this is now that you got do not judge, because I have to whip these up really quick. So we've got something to look at on the night. So there's lots of threads that need cutting, and I will eventually do it. But look at the birds nesting. Here is loads there. I could do with a better press. There's loads here. Do you see? I probably use the actual thread cutter. I used my. Well, there's now. This is interesting. You probably think, what's she on about? This is one of the foundation paper pieces, which still got little tiny bits of paper in. I need to get my tweezers on them. But when we come to do this, I'm going to talk to you about why, I don't know if you can see, but why my threads are loopy. There is a good reason why my threads are loopy. And like I say, I have to do it super duper quick, so I hope you can forgive me for that. But I want to tell you what to avoid. This is a perfect example of loopy threads. Can you see? Hopefully you can. And you can get that with foundation paper piece, but there's reasons why, and I will tell you how to correct that situation. So block number 2, day 2, block number 2, all done. So we've done 2 now, which is amazing. We're doing really well. So tomorrow we will do block number 3. Then on the 4th night, which is Sunday night, we will put the 3 pieces together with our big squares, and I will talk to you about what you can do with those big squares, because don't forget, I've got another idea for a simple piece, well, simple-ish piece of patchwork that you could do to fill in those squares. Okay, so but that is purely optional. You can stick to your plain squares if you want to, but they're quite big. So if you're using pattern fabric with your big block squares, you know, your plain ones, then it's not so bad. But if you're using this cream, for instance, on the big 12.5-inch squares, then maybe you want to break that up a bit. So I'm going to tell you what you can do to do that, if you wish. Right, thank you very much. Oh, thank you, Nicola. Yes, secret squirrel. Do I know yet? Yes, I do. I'll see you all tomorrow night at 7. I hope you have a lovely day tomorrow. You can tell me all your tales when we meet up tomorrow. I need to know what you've been doing. Yes, so have a lovely rest of your evening. I don't know if there's anything that you can watch on TV. I've got a thing about TV this Christmas, haven't I? And I will see you all tomorrow at 7. This is going on YouTube first thing in the morning, so you can always watch it there back, or you can watch it on my page back. There's no difference. But don't forget where the instructions are. They are on the 12 Days of Christmas tab on my website. Okay, it's very easy to find. And oh, Channel 5, Patricia. Oh, I must have a look. Does it say what's on Channel 5? Something interesting. I'll have to go and have a look now. I think John's watching football. Ipswich are playing. Right, I shall see you all tomorrow night. Have a lovely rest of your evening.